So I've been covering this game for about 6.5 years, and feel like I've got a pretty good understanding of things that you can expect for trends, as well as just in general how performances are going to go. But apparently, even though I think the general IQ or game sense of the community has gotten better, some of y'all got some of the worst takes I have ever seen. And in today, we're going to be clapping back on some of these. We're going to be looking at some of the hot takes from y'all. Some of the things that you guys have been saying, and we're going to tell you how either unbelievably right or wrong you are. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Lawler here. Gonna be talking about some of your all's hot takes today. There was a Reddit thread recently that says, what's your roster change, hot take, general predictions for the upcoming season? I think it's really cool that some of these conversations are starting to happen because it means people are invested and interested in the upcoming season. Things about different performances and whatnot, which is always good. I think that conversation is always healthy. But I do want to steer some of that conversation in the right direction based upon my own opinion. Because at the end of the day, this is a subjective take. Things like my own takes. And at the end of this video, I will have a couple of my own hot takes for y'all to take along with you. I said take a lot. Either way, let's take a look at some of these hot takes. So we are over on the Rocket League Esports subreddit, where sometimes there is some big brain moments and some very tiny walnut brain moments all at the same time. There was a thread that came out that says, what's your roster change, hot takes, general predictions for the upcoming season? I'm going to be scrolling through this and reading some of these and providing my very, very candid response in regards to how some of these are going. Some may be good, some may be bad. This is gonna be my first time looking at this thread. I have not looked at any of the comments, any of the replies. So you're gonna get candid answers exactly how this is supposed to go. So the first one by the person who created this post says, I think by, it's already a bad sentence. I think that if Envy don't win a regional, they'll drop Turbo and pick up Gyro. No, they will not. He's one of the most underrated in North America to me, and I think he fits well on the roster. While I do think Gyro is underrated, he's been grinding really well, and I think what he's going to do for Rogue is a good idea. First hot take for me, I have expectations that right now Rogue is willing to lose their first split because they made a bunch of money off the first killer trade over to FaZe. And then when Daniel becomes available in winter, in December time, they're going to spend a ton of money to bring Daniel in. And then it's going to be Gyro, Daniel, and X other player. I don't know what the combination of three is going to be, but I have a pretty good feeling that Rogue is going to spend a ton of money to bring Daniel in once he's of age. But Gyro, no, just there's no way Envy's going to get rid of Turbo. And there's no way that Envy's not going to perform as well as they do. They literally just won the We Play Invitational, and the only reason they looked poor at the tail end of last season is because there was no World Championship and none of them were playing. You've seen that from a bunch of different rosters. The complacent side of things and just being like, yep, nothing to play for. Let's get low hours. We're bored. And then teams fall off. You saw it with Space Station getting complacent. You saw it with Envy towards the tail. Like, it's pretty common. So Turbo getting dropped is not going to happen. That's a horrible take. He then says True Neutral will get at least one regional this season. They'll get to at least a couple regionals this season. There's, what, 9? They're definitely going to get into a couple of regionals. I think they are top 8 potential in North America, without a doubt. Getting to a major, I think, is a different conversation altogether. But yeah, I don't think that's too tough of a take. I do agree that they'll get definitely more than one regional. I think True Neutral has potential to be a top 8, top 10 team consistently, without a doubt, in North America. I think there's potential for that. His next take says, if G2 don't do well as they were expecting with Drees, they'll drop him and pick up Beast Mode and be an absolute powerhouse. That means that Shopify Rebellion would be willing to give up Beast Mode, which also doesn't sound like a thing. Also, G2 has shown us in the past that even if their team underperforms, they're willing to stick it out and try to build upon it. I don't foresee it happening. I think Drees is in a really good position. He's also just got to get a little bit more confidence under his belt. But the team as a whole is looking pretty dang good. It's just a matter of consistency, which is always the topic point for every team in the RLCS, is providing consistency, showing up week in and week out. And when we get a bunch of these teams playing against each other all the time again, a little bit different. This format's going to be unique because they used to have either regionals or grid to play in. Now they have a little bit of time to react and respond, which I think G2 is one of the better ones at. So I don't foresee them picking up another player on a team that just had top 2 performance against Envy in We Play. Why Beast Mode? Maybe you're just a fan of Beast Mode. I respect it. Beast Mode's pretty cracked. And the last one this poster has, Dignitas might not perform as well as they were hoping this season. They're all great individuals, but without figuring out how to play together, they can't hang with Carmine, BDS, Vitality, or Guild. I hate to break it to you, man, but Dignitas was 1 game away. They went to 7 against that team, and were 1 game away from going to the grand finals. Dignitas looks cracked. They look so good. And this is just the first iteration. I'm actually really keen on this Dignitas team. My personal hot take is if this Dignitas team does not have a strong performance, I'm talking like top 6, top 10, then yes, Scrubkilla is going to possibly have a very difficult time, if not be able to find another new team. Like if there's internal stuff going on and Scrubkilla is part of the reason for it, I don't think any other teams are going to give Scrubkilla the time of day because of what's happened with Mouse and all the other teams along the line getting here. Mouse, Singularity, you name it. I think between Mouse, Singularity, Guild, if things don't work out with Dignitas, Scrub, I think it's more of a you thing than other people. But I don't expect that to happen. I think this Dignitas roster is going to be really good. And I do think that they are better than Guild by a lot right now. I do agree that my top 3 are Carmine Corp, BDS, and Vitality. I think Dignitas can be in that conversation as well. Pretty much my top 4 for EU right now. All right, I'm going to scroll through these comments and see some of the other takes and responses to the original one. No way Envy will kick Turbo for Gyro. Smart man. Beast Mode is not leaving SR anytime soon. Good, good. General audience starting to get a little bit more intelligent. Proud of you guys. By no means am I pooping on anybody's opinion or any particular person. It is just a generalization and having some fun. No need for anybody to get offended. I hate that I have to make that clarification. Next one comes from Envy Hill that says, roster change. Alu underperforms and is replaced by Chicago. There is no way G2 is going to let Chicago go. You've got to be kidding me. That is definitely a hot take, but not a good take. I will say that. His hot take says that Shopify Rebellion wins the first regional event. I don't think they'll win it, but I do think they will be extremely close in that top performance. I really like what this offense is doing. I do like what Hapsu, their neuroscientist coach man, is doing about their consistency. But We Play Invitational was one event. I need to see them perform in another event. They just lost, I think, in like an Astro tournament, and that's always been their issue. They do have that high skill ceiling. They look incredible when they're on, but to do that week in and week out, is there potential for them to win the first regional? Without a doubt. But I do think some of the old guard are going to be the more likely and probably the honest opinions. I think Space Station looks really good to take it just because of the way they play is very easy to recreate. Not saying they don't put a ton of time and effort into being at that base level. I think energy will always bounce back. But ultimately, I look at that, and right now, beating Space Station, Envy, and Energy is really, really tough. Shopify Rebellion, although has a really good peak, winning the first regional right out the gate is, to me, unlikely. General prediction, BDS Reign of Terror comes to an end, and EU has a very competitive top spot battle. I talked about this during the We Play Invitational and stated that what BDS did last season is insane, and I don't think we'll ever see it again. I do think right now, in Europe, it is going to be more than just Europe being Vitality and BDS. I am a firm believer that Vitality is still the best team in the region, and I stand behind that, especially with Lance coming back. I am very excited with Lance coming back to see, as BDS progresses through live events, how that live performance affects them from major to major leading into the World Championship. Because I think, without a doubt, they'll be there. Their online play is one of the best in Europe by far. But with Vitality having a reason to play now, we're going to see, in my opinion, a much different Vitality than what we saw last season. ADOP's got Lance to go get W's at. That is a motivator. People should be afraid. With that said, I think Carmine Corp has a ton of potential, ton of skill ceiling. Their consistency is very similar to me as Shopify Rebellion, which is super exciting. Pay attention to them, though. That team fundamentally has a lot of really exciting things because of Astral and the way he plays with his mechanics. And Steak and Itachi show they can hang too. So yeah, Carmine Corp is one of my favorites and is probably my favorite European team to pay attention to. I do like this reply. Hot take: after failing to win a single regional whole season, BDS wins Worlds. That's kind of the exciting thing, is you don't have to win every single event. The ones that matter the most, majors and the World Championship. So as long as they get there, they have a chance. And maybe BDS takes a little bit of time. They may not dominate every single regional, but if they get to the major and get some points and get some LAN experience, by the time World Championship rolls around, you never know. I do like this. This is a really fun comment. I like that a lot. Dalster says Daniel and LJ will end up on the same team somehow. I don't know about that one because I'm pretty keen on Daniel going over to the Rogue Squad. And LJ, if you guys don't know, LJ Krasix and those boys playing for Oxygen. LJ is regarded as one of the most underrated players in the scene. Oxygen, I expect to do some fun things with Sad Jr., but I do know LJ is pretty sought after by a lot of players in the region. You could see some swapping in the future, but I do not think Daniel and LJ will end up together. SK gets top 5 EU. That's a tough one. I think right now in front of them, you've got BDS, Vitality, Carmine Corp. Dignitas is kind of hit and miss depending on what we get out of them. Top 5, I do think is potential. We haven't seen SK a lot, but I am keen on that roster. Big fan of Yukio and what they're doing over there. Love Snasky as a coach. Finally, with a team that has a chance for success and not being put on teams that are automatically doomed to fail. Snasky, I'm looking forward to you coaching a team that has potential to win, my dude. But yeah, SK Gaming, I actually really keen on. I'm excited about them. Everybody's been talking about German Amigos and White Demons and stuff. People forget about SK. I'm excited, even though German Amigos has beat SK in some of those tournaments. Either way, should be fun to watch. Also, White Demons is no longer White Demons. They just got picked up by Barcelona, if I remember correctly. I should probably watch my own videos. Next take, Blue will be EU MVP once again. I highly disagree with that. I don't think Blue will be anywhere close to the EU MVP based upon the other talent that is in the region, because it is, again, a team-based game, and I don't foresee Guild being towards the top of all things. I do think they'll be competitive, but compared to the Monkey Moons and K-Dops and Fairy Peaks and etc., Blue MVP over them? I don't think so. Ground Zero Gaming makes a final at the majors. That would be awesome. I love that take. That is a bold statement, and I respect you for making it. But I do think OCE is actually falling behind even more than South America. I wanted to see True Neutral and Ground Zero Gaming play, very much so, but now True Neutral's in North America, so we'll see how that goes. But even Furia versus Ground Zero would give us some answers. Majors more than ever with international competition, 8 different regions, gonna be nuts. Super excited for it. True Neutral will be a bubble major team, always around the 4 to 7 range. I respect that take. I think that's one of the few takes that I actually really agree with. At majors, that means that they are beating out, you're talking essentially the tail end. So that puts them at like a 4-5 seed in the region. At majors, that's a little bit more difficult, but I do agree True Neutral could be a really good LAN team. Their play style is super aggressive, in your face, no real defense. And if you don't play with that consequence in mind, yeah, they're a very threatening team. It's almost overwhelming to that point, and they've got the mechanics to back it up. So I could see that surprising some, but at the same time, if teams know to play super defensive Envy style, that could be a problem for True Neutral as well. It's going to be a chess match. I'm looking forward to it. Energy BDS remain on top going into Worlds, but the teams like Renault Vitality, Carmine Corp, Space Station, Envy, G2, and I want to say Ground Zero will all show up with Envy winning the whole thing. I think some of those teams are not going to be in the conversation, but I did say towards the tail end of last season, if Envy would have kept playing and kept grinding the hours and all that kind of stuff, Envy to me is probably one of the most dangerous teams, not only in North America, but just period. I think that Envy team is built to win LANs. Their play style, their ability to adapt fast, slow, defensive, offensive. We got a taste of that at WePlay. They look absolutely incredible. They literally ran through the top 6 best teams in North America back to back, playing FaZe twice. They played NRG, they played G2, they played literally everybody and ran through all of them. So yeah, Envy is really good. I still stand by my statement that if I had to pick a team going in as the favorite and the best in North America, if everybody's playing at their peak, Envy is so good. Envy is so good. Envy might make a move, but I will literally eat a shoe if they pick up Gyro. Oh man, that's funny. I agree. I'm not gonna eat a shoe or bet anything on it, but I do agree that Envy's not picking up Gyro. Calimax says First Killer will leave FaZe after winter split or after the end of the season to join G2, Xset, or maybe Rebellion. No way in hell he's going to Xset. No, maybe Rebellion, possibly. Rebellion with First Killer would actually be pretty cracked. Or G2. G2 is the original one. I think that there is chances for that to happen, but ultimately the contract that he was signed to, unless G2 is going to pay an exorbitant amount of money, I doubt it. I think G2 is probably going to stay the same for quite a while. I do like some of the theory crafting of what it may come to, but some of these, I get their hot takes, but they just seem so unrealistic for what FaZe is trying to accomplish. We just watched FaZe play with Dapper instead of Illusion, and it showcased the potential that team has and how threatening they can be. You bring in Illusion, who is, to me, a significantly better player than Dapper, and I say that in the nicest way. I love Dapper to death, and I think he did a great job as a fill-in. But Illusion has been playing with an AJ-esque type player for, I mean, an entire season now. His teammates with AJ, he understands how he does it. And the complication in the tournament that they fell short in was First Killer and AJ working together. Illusion had nothing to do with it. It was those two stepping on each other's toes. And we saw that even still a little bit We Play Invitational. As they started to figure things out after their first series, they looked great. They made a pretty good run. So I don't foresee FaZe giving up that roster. They want high, flashy, aggressive, in your face. And Illusion's going to lock that down. So I'm looking for it. I don't think First Killer's leaving FaZe anytime soon. I have hot takes, but there's nothing that can say that'll top the Sphere gets a girlfriend comment I made on the last pod. Savage, bro. What a savage. Man, some of the people are just absolutely brutal in this. Flaming Lemon says, Dignitas' problem will be their work ethic. Apparently, Jack might leave for a team that's more serious about grinding. I think that this team has really good chemistry and a lot of exciting things. Joyce and Jack are two peas in a pod, both ones mains, both top one, top two in their region, let alone the world, possibly. Scrub coming in, I think, is very excited to work with these two, and he's applying to a different role. I also love the approach they're taking. I think the fact that they aren't doing a coach, they're trying to figure out everybody's style and how they're going to mesh well and how things are going to perform, I think is a really cool way. And then if they start to have complications towards something, that's when they'll reach out for coach or help. I think they're taking it a really good way. I'm really excited about this Dignitas team, and you should be too. All right, enough of me reading some of your guys' hot takes and providing some of my own insight. I really enjoy threads like this. There's a lot of people saying, hey, we've seen this for the third, fourth time, blah, blah, blah. We got to commit it all to one. I do think conversations like this are important for the scene. You're getting people invested in starting to think about things that matter long term. As we see now more weight in regions about who goes to the World Championship and the X amount of spots, you're also starting to see the involvement of people caring more about long-term stuff, roster trades, and big things like that. I think is super important, and discussing it, whether there be some really bad takes or otherwise, I still think is healthy conversation. Even if the person who makes the take gets completely downvoted into oblivion and they provide counter arguments, like people still wondering why Turbo is honest. Like, I don't understand why people don't understand. Like, how do you not get that Turbo's goated? He's the GOAT of Rocket League, and people still think that blows my mind. He literally just won a tournament, like $50,000. I don't understand. Either way, appreciate you guys' hot takes. Maybe we'll do more stuff like this in the future. If you guys want me to do a part 2 of this, give me some of your own hot takes in the comments down below. I think it's really fun to provide insight on this stuff, as well as just see what you guys are thinking and kind of cooping up. There's a lot of these that I didn't talk about in the comments that I actually agree with, but we're more so talking about the hot takes that are just like, let's provide some insight as to why I believe the opposite. So if you guys do have your own hot takes, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you guys do enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.